So to create an HTML file, you can go to your desktop or anywhere on your computer. Then you create a folder. Let me create a folder called website. So you can create this folder anywhere on your computer. So I'll call mine website. Remember, I'm using Linux, but the steps are the same even if you're using Windows or MacBook. So open with Visual Studio Code, that's my text editor. But if at all you're using Sublime Text or Atom, you can also open your folder with those specific text editors. It will still work. When I open my folder with that Visual Studio Code, it will appear like this. It will give me a welcome screen. It will tell me like start, you create a new file, a new folder, add folder to your workspace, customize. You can add in other things later on. I can close this welcome screen for now. And then I want to create a file, the index.html we talked about in the tutorial. So in order to create a file, you can either go to file and then select new. So you come here, let me use this method. It will be simple for most of you. Select new file. So when you create a new file from file, it will just create for you a file which is not which doesn't have any file name or which is untitled. So the first thing I would recommend you do is save that file. So to save the file, you can either click Ctrl S or you can still go back to file and then select save as. So I want to save this file as index.html. That's what I would recommend you do in the first place because it will save you a lot of time. So index.html. So index is a file name and then the extension is the .html. In order for my file to qualify to be an HTML file, it has to have that extension of .html. If at all it's an image file, it will have something like a PNG or a JPEG. If at all it's a CSS file, it will have the extension of .css. Or if at all it's a JavaScript file, it will always have an extension of JS. But since we're creating HTML, it will always have, let's create a file with the extension of HTML, like that. So I'll select save. So when I save my file, I get and observe some changes that have happened. It will have these icons, that the opening angle bracket and the closing angle bracket. So why I chose this text editor is because it will at times help me autocomplete the tag, but I'm going to write the structure from scratch so that everyone knows how to can see how it's written. So like we said in the other document, you start by writing your doc type. So you open the angle bracket. So the advantage with Visual Studio Code, it brings you the autocomplete because I've written so many HTML files. So it will always bring me that. But let me type everything myself because this is the only way you're going to learn if at all you type everything from scratch. So I'll close it off. But if at all you get familiar with the structure and understand this is supposed to be here, you can always do it quickly and faster. Then like we said, we have the HTML, and then for every tag you open, I recommend you close it there and then. So this is the advantage with Visual Studio Code. It will always help me close off my tags. When I open a tag, it will always help me close it off. But if at all it doesn't, you always have to come and close it off. Like for the closing tag, it always has to have that /, then the element name, and then the closing /. Then I also put in the head section. So yeah, Visual Studio Code helps me autocomplete the things. It has a plugin called Emmet. That's what helps it autocomplete these tags. I also put in my body. Yes, and like I said, you cannot reserve these things on one line. You can have your whole HTML, like your whole page on one line, but it will be hard for you to like read out. It will still work, but it will be hard for you to read. So that's what I always do. I put the different elements on different lines. But these ones are on the same line. Why? Because they're all children of the HTML element. So in here, I'm going to put in the title. I'll call it my first website. Use capital letter, my first. Then I also put in the meta. Let me leave the meta now. I also put in a heading. I'll call it welcome to my first website. Or welcome to my website. I have something like that. So I've basically created my first web page. So after writing your HTML like this, remember I said the text editor is for writing the HTML and then the browser is for viewing. I'll just come to like have a different interface, but you can always right click and then select reveal in Explorer or reveal in a browser. For your case, if I told you using Windows, but I will just open containing folder, or you can simply go back to your desktop and then select where you created the folder called website. Then in here you have your index.html file. That's the file you're supposed to open with the browser, this particular file. If at all you have Google Chrome as your default browser, it will always have the icon of Google Chrome. So I'll open this with Chrome. And then we're going to see what happens. Yeah. And I have my first website. But observe the title, what's in that browser tab. You see? My first website. So when I bookmark this page, this is what will always appear in the bookmark, my first website. But on my screen, actually, I have welcome to my first website. Why? Because that's the content. That's what I put in the body in the text editor. Let me also add a paragraph. So remember the paragraph, we always use a P tag. So I'll put in the P and then close it off there and then. Because when you forget, it will assume everything will be part of the paragraph. So I'll put in a sample paragraph. There's a site called Dorem. I'll just put, yeah, they will generate for you different paragraphs and observe what we talked about block level elements and inline elements. The two of these ones, the H1 and then the paragraph, are both block level elements, so I expect them to be on the different lines. So when you make any changes, oh, I forgot to tell you to save. So I set my editor to be in auto save, but you already wherever you make changes, you have to press Ctrl S to save your file. To whenever you make any changes to your web page. So I come here, when I refresh, I'll have that paragraph in. So that's the process you always follow. To create a web page, I can also add another paragraph by simply adding this lorem. I can add as many paragraphs as possible. This will just give me like some starter text. You realize now it's not working. Why? Who can guess why? Any guesses why I'm not seeing that the other paragraph in the browser when I reload my page? Any guesses? Any guesses? Any guesses why it's not working? Someone's raising up their hand. Stella, yes, Stella? Yes, exactly. I did not save. So for every change you make, you have to save your file. So actually, it always warn you here. Are you seeing the dot here on my file? That will indicate the file is not saved. So what I have to do is press Ctrl S to save my file. So when I come back to my browser to view the HTML, when I reload, I have my second paragraph. Now I have the heading, one heading. I have two paragraphs. Now, any guesses on how to add the image? Any guesses? I want to have an image in my web page. Okay, let me add the image. So if I want the image down, I'll just come here, press enter, and then create the image element. But before I do that, I would recommend you always have the image in your project folder. So for my project folder, I have a website like this, but right now it only has the index.html file. So what I can do, I'm going to create a folder. When you observe these icons, one has new file, you can create a file easily from here. The other has a new folder. This one has refresh, and then this one has collapse all files. So my interest is creating a folder. So I'll just click on this. I want to create a folder called images. Remember, you can't add an image when it doesn't exist. You can't add something that's not there. So what I'm going to do is open containing folder again. I want to go add that image manually in the images file. You can observe in my website folder, I have images, and then I have a file. So I'm going to choose one of any images from my computer. I have some logos here. Let me use the Campabits logo. So I'll copy the image, then go back to my website folder. Guess I called it, no. I called it, it's inside the folder called test. It's here. So look for the images and then paste it here. So me pasting the image there, I won't show that, I won't hope the browser recognize you have an image, because even if I view, I can't see anything. Even if I save right now, the image is there, but I can't view anything. You have to actually include it in the HTML to show that you want an image to show up in your web page. So what I can do is create an image element. Remember, for it, it's self-closing. You don't have a closing tag. Sorry, for the image, you can either do it like this, or you can simply do it like that. It doesn't matter if at all you put the forward slash or not. So I prefer doing it that way. Remember we talked about attributes. So you need to tell the browser where to find the image. So I'll add the source attribute. It's written src, then the equal sign, then the quotes. Then my image is not inside a folder called images. So Visual Studio Code is a good text editor in that it will help you like show you the images, the images folder. So you can simply do it like that or do it like that, and then make sure it's complete. If it doesn't, you have to write it manually. You have to know where you kept your images. This case images folder, put slash, and then put campabit. Put the actual file name. If your image is not called campabit, please don't add campabit.jpg. Otherwise, it won't show in the browser. After I have to like save, I'm going to show you the other attribute for images later on. Wherever you do, you have to save, because if I told I don't save and just go back to my browser and reload, I won't see any changes. So saving is very, very important. So whatever you do, you have to Control S to save, or you can simply go to File and select Save. Not save as this time around, but only save. So after saving, when I reload, yay! I have my image showing in my web page. So that's how you add images to your web pages. Any questions? Let me just do something here. Let me just alter the spelling of campabit, my file name. Who can guess what will happen? So suppose I written campabit instead of campabit.jpg. This is what will happen when I reload. I'll have a small icon like that looks like this to show me like you want the image element, but you can't find the image called campabit. So spellings are very, very crucial when it comes to writing file names. So the moment you remove the S, it will change the meaning. So the browser won't recognize the source of the image, where that image is, because when it looks through my computer, it can't find any image called campabit.jpg. So make sure you're always writing the right spellings. You get them correctly. Then the other thing is about, okay, let me say I didn't have the right spelling, but I had another attribute for the image. So suppose you have a network issue or your website takes long to save, to load your website. People always have something to read. Maybe this is the campabit logo or campabit logo. You always putting that out attribute to your images. Why it will help people who first it will help when you have a network issue on your website, or if at all your website is inclusive. For example, now campabit, we have some people who cannot they have a hearing impairment, but you can also as well have someone who visits your website, but when they are blind. Blind people can't see your image, the exact image. They can't see the colors, but at least you put a brief description about that image, what that image is all about. So they always have to read, use screen readers to read this is the campabit logo, and they will only read the information that's put in the out attribute for your image element. So even if you put in the wrong spelling, this will always show the out attribute. Let me save and show you what will happen now. So you see my image did not load, but I'm seeing the out, the description of that image. This is the campabit logo. So if someone is blind but they visit your website, they will at least get to know what these images are all about, because they can't see the images, but they can read using screen readers. But you can as well put in the out element in case of a network issue, and also have the image right, for good user experience for those people who are seeing properly and they can read as well. So now when I rectify the spelling, I have my image back. And I won't see the out attribute, but if I told someone is using a screen reader, they always read out that the description of the image. That's it for today, unless you have any questions. I'm waiting for your questions.